What's up, guys? It's Benny. I want to be very realistic and set the table for this video. I'm not a Bill Maher fan. I don't believe that Bill Maher is MAGA, right? That's called red pilling, and it's not true. I also don't believe that Bill Maher just hates us and hates Trump and will always just be a brain dead lib. Like, that's black pilling. That's also not true. What's happening right now with Bill Maher is white pilling, meaning Bill Maher is just simply opening up his eyes and recognizing the world around him and calling balls and strikes. And it's kind of a beautiful thing to see somebody with just some intellectual honesty engaging in good faith arguments, bringing in a ton of people from a ton of different backgrounds and having challenging conversations. Maybe you'll agree with it, maybe you won't. But you kind of get that Fetterman vibe where it's like, at the very least, like, they're trying to see the world like without the sort of broke brain NPC mindset programming, and it's a good thing, right? I think that we're being honest about that. The guy went and had dinner with Trump. Again, he didn't leave with a red hat sewn to his head, and he didn't leave by setting the White House on fire, right? It's like kind of good, like, middle ground. Anyway, the point is that I really appreciate the guy's going on a journey, and he's taking us along with him. And a lot of people are paying attention, and that's a good thing. Bill Maher straight up telling CNN the Democratic Party not only is stupid, their ideas are going to destroy the party. He doesn't believe that he is a Democrat anymore. Listen to this.
So I'm going to call it out wherever I see it. I mean, there are things that have to do with, gender and race and free speech and just ideas about, you can be healthy at any weight, and gender is always a social construct, and maybe we should give communism another try, and maybe we should get rid of capitalism and the border patrol, and let's tear down statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no. It's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are stupid. Okay?
At least you can see the uncomfortable, smirking smug on the CNN anchor's face. This was something that Bill Maher said a few months ago, but this is something that Bill Maher said just this week that has also really struck a nerve. President Trump has changed Bill Maher, man. I'm telling you. Bill Maher corrects guest that says that he left the Democrat Party. He said he was never there to begin with. Late night host stunned the internet by saying he's not a woke supremacist and a member of the most intolerant party in a savaging of the Democrat Party. Bill Maher says he never left the Democrat Party because he was never there to begin with. I never was a Democrat to begin with, says Bill Maher during his podcast released with actor Asai Morales. Never heard of him. I always liked caucused with the Democrats. I generally voted for them. But Bill Maher said that he was not a member of the Democratic Party and that he thought that there was a day when the Democratic Party was not as insane as the Republican Party. I think I always vote for them, but I always look at it as like, no, I'm gonna actually make up my mind. They just always are less scary and insane than the Republicans. But I wait for a day that evens out. Well, maybe the day is now because Bill Maher is having dinner with Donald Trump, right? Here's the shock clip that has sent the internet screaming, especially a lot of Bill Maher's fans. And I have a thought on this. Here we go. All right, this is the clip that lit the internet on fire. Bill Maher suggests Democrats are getting too crazy, and he's going to vote Republican. I was never a Democrat to begin with.
We as human beings are extremely contradictory.
Oh, well, of course.
Okay? So for me, political parties, like, I'm too old for parties now. I love when you said, I didn't leave the Democratic Party, the party left me.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did. I heard you say that.
No, I didn't.
What did you say? I heard you say that,
What you're doing, which is not wrong, is you're conflating what people have said in the past about leaving parties with
but I recall that.
Wait, I know me better than you know.
I don't know.
I'm just going to tell you, you're putting a title on an actual quote on something that somewhat accurately expresses my point of view. I understand why you said, but I never said that because I never was a Democrat to begin with. I always like caucused with the Democrats, and I generally vote for them. I think always vote for them, but I always look at it and like, no, I'm going to actually make up my mind. They just always are less scary and insane than the Republicans. But I wait for the day when it evens out. We're approaching that because they have gotten crazier, and that's a lot of what you're referencing. But I never said I left the party because I wasn't there to begin with.
Well,
But
you said
what
something similar.
very similar. I'm telling
Okay.
you, you have the general feeling
Yes,
right,
okay. I
but not that
apologize.
exact
My
quote
bad.
and not that exact feeling because it's more than party. It's more like left and right.
Yeah.
The language changes, and I'm sorry, but woke got to be an eye roll. It wasn't originally, but it got to be an eye roll for every crazy, way too far left, non-commonsensical bullshit.
My
So,
favorite term was woke supremacist. I
right,
love that because
you made that up?
no, I saw that and I
Oh,
thought this is brilliant.
well,
So
put it
somebody is a woke supremacist pretending to be
right.
all what's the word, tolerant, and they're the most intolerant
They
sometimes.
really are.
And they
They,
want to cancel people at the drop of a hat. I'm like, that's somebody's living. Like, relax, you know? The point I was trying to make was why I've always identified with the Democratic Party, and I still identify as a liberal at heart. You know, at heart,
I
I'm a
voted
liberal.
for her.
You know what my definition of liberal is? Is someone who wants to change the status quo for the better. You liberate yourselves
You know what I always say to the
and
soup.
conservative is someone who wants to conserve what works, what's good, and I
You know
think
what
we
I
need to
always
do
say to the
both.
super woke?
Tell me.
We voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Ooh.
What?
Brutal, brutal.
Knife? You're saying I put the knife in right?
No, but it's truth.
I love to put the knife in.
No, but you
I
do.
don't
But I haven't
apologize
always.
for it.
Absolutely wild. And here's the thing I'd say about this with Bill Maher is he actually is putting something at risk by doing this. Bill Maher has a lot more to lose than he has to gain because he had a really solid left-wing audience. And Bill Maher is putting that at risk by going on sort of this journey of uh, realization politically. And instead of like taking the easy paycheck and just repeating NPC talking points, he's like actually, I think, doing his best to try and figure out this current political landscape because he doesn't quite know where he fits in it. So the easy path out is just take the talking points, right? You go watch The View every single day. You can listen to the talking points. Go turn on the MSNBC or CNN. You hear the talking points. What Bill Maher is doing is he's like challenging them. And it's like a beautiful thing. And then he's challenging like the real broke brains. Like so when you see him up against the end stage, the final boss of that movement, which is degenerate Sean Penn here with his like taped up sneakers, it's incredible. You know, Bill Maher gutting at Sean Penn. Sean Penn made fun of Bill Maher for having dinner with Trump, and Bill Maher, just guts him like a pig. Here we go.
I have not been invited. The only reason I would not accept an invitation is because I see no so it's a long flight. And I see no
Really? You'll meet with fucking
I don't think that I
Castro
would.
and Hugo Chavez, but not the president of the United States?
Yeah, I saw good results come out of some of those things in terms of
You do realize
agendas
the
that I had. I don't think that there's anything that I would. I just
Just
personally
know
wouldn't trust anything that was said in the room, including the personality.
it's not a matter of trusting it. It's a matter of seeing it, matter of experiencing, matter of knowing it.
Yeah, it's an
More
interesting.
knowledge. It's like saying I don't want this medical test because I don't want to know. I want to know.
Yeah,
I
fair
want
enough.
to. Okay.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I
I
mean,
have some good friends that are on
I said this many times
work
within the
close to
piece
me.
when I did it that like it's up to. I'm just giving you the report. It's up to you to make the decision. Who do you think is the real guy? I'm telling you, there's a very different guy behind closed doors in a different setting. Now,
or
what you
capable of performatively
yes,
being that. Yeah.
well, one of the either my my friends who believe in astrology would say he's a Gemini. Of course, there's two of them. Okay, that's
I
one way to look at it. Other people will say, well, the real guy is the guy you met, and he's playing this clown on TV. And other people will say the reverse. He's a well. I mean, it seems harder to do the reverse. I mean, can you really pretend to be sane? You can pretend to be insane. I think it's harder to pretend to be sane, to be measured and like all the things I said, which is just what happened.
Mhm.
So again, there's three parts of this. Would you go to the dinner? I think you're crazy not to. Not to want to see up close the person who's this important in everybody's lives for the last decade.
I
Two,
completely understand that.
are you going to lie about it? I'm sorry, I'm not a liar. I don't lie. So I told the truth. And then three, do I go back to doing what I always did? Yes, I did.
Yeah, but you could have told more truth, or you could have told less truth.
I told a
I'm just
lot of
saying,
truth. I told everything.
I would have enjoyed a little more brevity on that. But I absolutely understand the
But that's
dinner.
just emotional. You were just triggered.
It's possible. It's possible. It's true that
But I
for
would
some
like to.
reason this particular president triggers me rather often.
Exactly. He makes people crazy, but he's not making me crazy. But so you really wouldn't go?
No, I don't. I'm not saying
You
I
should
think
go.
I wouldn't, because let me put it this way: what I know I would not do.
Especially, he's very.
I would not go. Let's say, so for example, when we talk about this very different president of Uruguay, um, I there were things that Uruguay had models of in development that could be very helpful to Haiti, and I went to see if we could get some training from them and so on and so forth, which we did. And whereas if I were, let's say, representing a cause celeb, say it was Ukraine, say it was whatever it was, I would not fool myself that I was going to get anywhere with him. I know that I wouldn't. I know that I would have no influence.
Bad attitude. You don't know that. You don't
Um,
know anything. He's a guy who frequently seems to go by what the last thing he heard was. He's everything with, I'll tell you this about Donald Trump, and you don't know it because you don't go to dinners. It's all about,
I didn't go to dinner with President Trump. That's
yeah,
true.
you should.
But not
It's all
for
about
dinner.
personal
I've
relationships.
not been invited.
Okay, I will get you an invite. He's a star fucker in a way. I bet you he would like to meet you. And you would have a,
Yeah, he'll see this show. He says, "Oh, but if I see him, they're going to call me a
I
star
don't think he
fucker."
watches the podcast. He does watch the show. He's a faithful
Somebody,
viewer.
he's got people that do his
I mean,
thing. Dan Bongino will be knocking on your door if you didn't go to dinner.
that's not why I did it. And it could work out the other way. You don't know. He's very unpredictable. And
And that's where you actually see the incredible evolution of Bill Maher's political ideas is in clips like that. When he's faced with NPC thinking and left wing smooth brain thinking, and and everyone else would just like shrug and be like, "Oh, it's Sean Penn. He's pretty famous." No, man, it's really cool. And so they're having these conversations. It's wild. Stephen A. Smith, Bill Maher dispute the notion that Trump is a terrible racist. If we're being totally honest, all the brothers found him to be really cool. They found him to be very cool. So let's be clear, because we all know sports, right? He would say what he feels. He bucked the establishment, which we love, and we gravitated to that. So it's like, it's incredible to watch. These two guys definitely are the two probably leading center left guys that are trying to have honest conversations about this current political moment. I mean, the Democrat Party, they could literally save the Democrat Party by showing up and like trying to just find a middle ground, right? But the Democrats aren't going to do that. That's the sad part about it. Here's Stephen A. Smith and Bill Maher uh, having this honest conversation. And again, it's a white pill. It's not a red pill. It's not a black pill. It's a white pill, and it's refreshing. It's refreshing to just hear I want a country. I want a country where we can have conversations. I agree. I totally agree. Here we go.
All right, so here's the thing.
Right.
So there are all these, white boys who are talking to me about Trump, and he's a terrible racist. And it's like, well, how could the black people vote for him more than each time? And they didn't vote for him a lot more, but men did.
Right, men did.
Okay, and I said, you know what? I don't want to speak for all black people, and this is where I need to tell you.
Sure.
You tell me if I was wrong or right.
Okay.
I said, you know what I think black people think about Trump? Like, is he a racist? Yeah, but they think every white person is kind of a racist. And do they think that white people behind closed doors talk like Trump? Yeah, he's just a crazy
That
person.
last part right there. That last part right there. It's not that. It's
He
not
just
that.
says it out loud
As black people, I don't want to speak for all black people, whatever.
No,
Obviously, I'm
because they're not all alike.
That's
at
right.
all.
Exactly. But I will say this to you. As being a black man, you don't look at white people and automatically think they're racist. You automatically know they're different than you, that they think different than you, that they come from a different cultural background and
Yes.
experience things differently than they do. So
Right.
that second part is very, very important, because when you talk about how Trump talks,
Right.
we're going like this. So that's the first time he talked like that, when he became president. Who the fuck you think you playing with? We know better than that. We know better than that. We know that ain't the first time, and we know that the people that he was friends with all of these years, he talked just like that around y'all, and y'all didn't have no problem with it. Don't act like you have a problem
And
now.
also had some genuine black friends and black folks who like him.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't know if I told you.
Because it's complicated.
I don't know if I
Life
told you
is
this.
complicated.
I wouldn't call myself his friend by any stretch of the imagination back in the day.
Right.
But I've told this on many occasions. I said this in my recent appearance on The View and stuff like that. Trump and I were friendly.
Right.
Before he ran for president. He used to have these boxing matches, particularly during the Tyson fights at the Trump casinos. He would be at the Knicks games and stuff like that. And if we're being totally honest, all the brothers found him to be cool.
Right.
They found him to be very cool. So let's be clear, because he knew his sports, all right? He would say what he feel.
Right.
He bucked the establishment, which we love. And we gravitated to that, and obviously he was
and also he was a certain age,
and
you
cool.
get a certain
it was cool.
understanding that white men of that age,
right?
They're going to be a little grandpa. We don't say that anymore.
No,
but
like, him.
Is he really in his heart hateful? No, I think
I've never.
I don't think his motivation is I don't like black people. I think his motivation is everybody must love me.
Thank you. And that's why that right there, what you just said, everybody must love me.
It's his narcissism. It's not his racism.
I have never called him a racist. I have never spoken about him that way. Ever. Not one time. Not one time. Because I knew him beforehand. And I was